Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
Welcome back. MisFitNation. MisFitNation. We are a show founded by veterans and hosted by veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their story to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on, share some of your tips with the audience to help them become better versions of themselves. If you're a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and share how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you're a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and just share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. Reach out, we will get you on. If you are feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle, or are embarrassed to share that with them, please dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make it a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you're a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation. Be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast apps and also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisfitNation. That's @the_MisfitNation. Subscribe and click the bell. This will keep you up to date with all of our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Electrocast Media and About Face Radio. This will keep you tuned into us and learn more about our great guests. Speaking of which, our next guest is a United States Army veteran with over 2 decades of service as a combat engineer. He has attained his MBA and his master's in education since retiring while continuing to train soldiers. He also is a servant leader who volunteers throughout the community. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Charles Woods, also known as Chuck. Welcome, Chuck.
Well, thank you, Rich. Can you hear me?
I got you. I had to bring the bell.
Right. I like the white bell. Now I know where that noise is coming from whenever I listen to your shows. I'm not watching.
Yeah, Chuck, heck yeah. So if you don't mind, Chuck, just tell us a little bit more about yourself than I gave you a blurb. I shrunk your career down to a sentence, 22 years. So knock it out for us.
All right. Well, I was born actually in New Orleans, Louisiana, and never lived there, but I lived about 45 minutes away. Then in my middle school years, I moved to Salt Lake City, where I attended junior high and high school. Then I moved back to Louisiana, where I graduated from high school there. Shortly after graduating from high school, I attended Nichols State University in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And after 2 years, I joined the military. And my first duty station was Fort Carson, Colorado. And even early then, I was thinking in my career what I wanted to do when I get out. And I always thought, I always needed teachers. So I put that on the back of my mind. That's what I would do when I get out the military. I wanted to teach. But spent 22 years in the military. And after I retired, I actually retired in Europe and spent 7 years in Europe as a civilian, which is a lot different than being a soldier over there. I enjoyed it. I loved it. But the Germans government wanted to put me into the German tax system. So I was forced to leave, and I landed here at Fort Campbell in 2015. And I've been working here since then. Actually working with Rich. We shared an office at one point in our life.
Yes, we did. Until we got moved around a couple times, kind of like the dude from the office space there, except we didn't lose our stapler at the time.
Or as you know, the young people would say, we got treated like street booty. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that. That's all right. So you have a ton of stories you tell people from your service. I mean, I'm sure you got some funny ones you want to share with the audience. You just leave names out to protect the innocent and those who may be incarcerated now. So
Okay.
yeah.
In the military, we have a special relationship. I could, not see Rich for 15 years, run into him in a Walmart, and it's like we just saw each other yesterday. So we have that bond for those people that weren't in the military. It's a special bond, and we have a different type of sense of humor that people outside the military may not, understand or appreciate. And I remember I was in Iraq, and I'm gonna draw a picture for you people that were never in the military or deployed. But we have these trailers they call shower chews or shower trailers, and they're real small. You have, if I remember right, they have like 3 showers, and you have basically, if someone is in the shower, when they open the shower curtain, if you're right there shaving, they're like standing right on your back. All right. So I was at the last stall, brushing my teeth and shaving, and my sergeant major was in the first stall. And help you draw this picture, soldiers have been in and out of there, and we're having a problem with drainage. So you have this nasty water with foam on the top of it. And we had pallets on the floor, so you didn't have to stand in the water, but the water was probably about half an inch over the pallets. And my sergeant major was there in the shower, and he was reaching for his shampoo. And I'm looking out of the corner of my eye, and I see him fall out the shower, and he's trying not to fall on the floor and land in this froth, that has developed on the floor. And he fell on the floor, and his effort trying not to hit the floor, he wound up rolling on the floor. So he got all this nasty scum all over him. And he just gave me this look like, you didn't see nothing. So I tried not to laugh. I probably turned a nice shade of burgundy from not laughing and holding it in. But of course, I couldn't keep that one to myself. I told a couple of my close friends. But yeah.
Definitely, that's a good one. Falling in that gray water in the shower, you already getting some kind of a disease on your feet, taking a shower, thinking you're getting clean, and then you fall on it and probably got some in his mouth too. So they're probably
he fell flat on his back and rolled.
That's not a good time. That's like doing a rucksack flop into a hole and finding out you're in hell. So
yeah.
So you've been around the world. I mean, you got to stay in rest of Ramadi for a little while. Germany for a long time.
Yes.
What was your favorite location?
My favorite location, I would say, overseas. I traveled a lot overseas, and a lot of former Eastern European bloc countries: Poland, Romania, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. But out of those countries, I'd say Romania was my favorite, just because the people were so friendly, the food was good, and excellent alcohol. Western Europe, I love Amsterdam. Amsterdam was a beautiful place, and I went there. Each time I went with the family, so it was a family trip. So you hear all these crazy things about Amsterdam, but Amsterdam is a great family place. And I would say Rome and to the Vatican, because the Vatican is considered its own like state. It's right there in Rome, but Vatican City is like its own state. So or city, but the Vatican.
Outstanding. I mean, you listed a bunch there, so listeners like, dang, you got to see everything. He's so lucky. He's so lucky to be forward and have to get on that train or ride his car across those quick borders. No passports for a while you're over there, and then just went to passports now. But I'm sure getting to see all that before you had the opportunity to go to Ramadi and things like that kind of opened your eyes. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you a funny story about the travel like that. We went to Rome, and my son was probably about 10 years old, and he didn't want to go to the Colosseum, and he was upset, like, oh, this is nothing but a pile of old rocks. And I have pictures of him laying there with his arms folded and pouting. And then he was playing on his Xbox about 2 years later. I was to the Assassin's Creed, and it was based in Rome. And he actually knew his way around Rome from the video game. So there was some gain from it. He didn't realize it at the time, but he appreciated it later. whether it was for the right reason or not.
Of course, and as much as you hate to let them sit in front of a game and play games, I guess it teaches them something these days.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's an awesome attribute to have, and things like both your kids were able to see the world at young ages. So
yes,
that's outstanding. And so having that experience for them is amazing, and having, especially for you two, you got to see it as a young man, and then not how you are now, a little older.
No,
you see some of the world now that you've aged a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, just last year you had a life-changing event where you had a barracuda nearly kill you.
Yes, it was a bad snorkeling experience. Yeah, bad snorkeling experience. Luckily, I had my wife there, and she went under and scared the barracuda away. But he was looking at me with that look in his eye.
How big was that barracuda again?
Now, with me telling this story, I mean, his eye was probably about the size of a dinner plate. But if my wife tells the story, she says he was that big. But women are good with measurements. Women are good with measurements.
He's saying about 3 inches, 4 inches, but in his eyes, it was 3 feet long and mouth about the size of a Mustang.
Yeah, I thought I saw it with the kid's leg hanging out his mouth as it swam by.
Of course. No, we met just over 2018 when I came off the position.
Yeah.
Before me and you got moved around a little bit, and where we are now. And we started this club called the Chicken and Beer Crew. And every Friday we'd go and we'd find a place. So for a while, it was a Korean restaurant that had great chicken and cold beer. So we'd go there, we'd sit and we'd just chat and have a good time. That's how we became friends, and how you became part of our lives here with the Misfit Nation, and a member of the board now. So we use you, we lean on you for advice and things, especially with your MBA background. You're the smart guy of us in the business world.
No, you're the doctorate candidate. Doctorate candidate.
Not in business. I'm
not in business. Sure.
So for us to move forward, we need those sponsors and such. So who do you think we should reach out to for the Misfit Nation to get out there and get those sponsors in here and get the cash flow rolling?
I would tell you, from my personal experience, I would look at some of the alumni fraternities, because a lot of them are willing to donate because there are 501c.
Yeah,
501c. I'm a member of Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and we are 501c. And I think all the alumni chapters or organizations of the NPHC, which is National Panhellenic Council, are 501c organizations.
Outstanding.
And I mean, that's what we look for, giving back to the community and stuff like that. And I think this is a great platform that you have here, Rich. And usually I'll call you and tell you, I listen to this one, that, because in the office, when I don't feel like listening to anybody else, I'll listen to your podcast that I miss, or if I'm traveling, that's when I listen to them and I catch up on them. And I mean, you had some very interesting guests, and I learned a lot from your show. But yeah, looking for those sponsors, I would, like I said, I would start there, and then I would start looking at the local community, just different individuals in the community. I know we don't want to get or cross that line and get into the political aspect of it, because we don't want people to think you're leaning one way or another with any type of party, because that sometimes could be, a downfall or something that people may frown upon. But yeah, I would say when I was with the Boy Scouts, and I was over in Germany with the Boy Scouts, and I was one of the adult leaders. And when I left there, I was actually the treasurer. And we would look to the local community. And being we were in Germany on a military base, we would go to the local clinic, and we'd say, okay, we'll donate a Christmas tree, because we had a pretty good scheme over there, because they would thin out the forest every year right before Christmas, and they would donate the trees to us, where we would actually give the trees away for donations. And that's how we would raise money, unlike the popcorn sales and some of the other things that the Boy Scout did. But we were a small, tight-knit community, so we had, our name was out there. And that's something I would tell you, or we would look for, is getting your name out there, letting people know who you are, what your organization is, how you provide this platform for everyone, any and everyone that has a voice and want to be heard. And word of mouth. I think word of mouth. And I don't think you're large enough yet to have a billboard, but hey, I have your sticker and your number and stuff. And, I talk to people about it because pretty soon my wife will probably be on here doing the show. And I mean, she has an interesting story herself about where she came from and where she is now.
Story of resilience too. Yes, definitely there. And like you said, the growing part is there for us, and we're not Joe Rogan yet, so billboards aren't part of it yet.
Right.
But we do have a loyal fan base, and that helps out a lot as well.
Yeah. And I mean, you're a member of the Jeep Club, and even I would think even advertising there with the Jeep on your Jeep Club, and I know, if I'm not mistaken, you have it on your Jeep.
Yes.
And I actually have a couple of your stickers on different things. One on my water bottle, and I've talked to different people. Actually, my wife and I just picked up some photos from a photographer, and I actually gave him your contact information because he is from, I want to say, Argentina, and he has an interesting story about how he came to the United States and how he became a photographer and how he has a successful business in Nashville. And it just shows that the American dream still exists if you're willing to pursue it.
If you want to put the work in, anything's possible for you to work in.
And not to get off topic, but yeah, I think that's one of the major problems with society and youth today. A lot of them feel entitled. It's not the same generation we grew up in where, once you graduate from high school, your parents looked at you and said, okay, what's your plan? You go in the military, you're going to find a job, you're going to college, whatever you do, and we're going to support you in it, but you have to find the finances for it.
Definitely. And it was usually getting a job was no matter. That was no brainer. You had to get a job coming out of high school. Right. Most of us had jobs coming out of high school anyway. You were already working in high school, one or two jobs at least. And then you had those choices. You're going to go to college or get a trade and do that. And like a lot of us that we served with took that right turn into the military. And then a lot of our friends took that trade or the college route, became professionals and did great things for themselves in that area as well.
And you said that, and it made me think of something. And when I was doing my master's in education, I did some research, and it was research basically on how the young mind thinks to a certain extent when it comes to education. And I'm sitting here, and you made me think about that. And with me looking at that research I did, and I basically did the research with students that had a better understanding of the English language and better communication skills versus, everybody else in the class, but it was math. And my research, what I discovered, those that had a better understanding of the language and how to communicate knew the right questions, and those were the better students. And fast forward, I taught for the University of Maryland at their European campus, and I taught here at Nashville State. And that's one of the major issues I saw with a lot of my students is that they weren't properly taught at the lower level. And I think that that's one of the issues we're seeing today, because like I said, my wife, like your wife's a school teacher, and she'll ask, and not elementary, high school teacher, and she'll ask students, what do you want to do when you grow up? And she gets answers like, I want to be an influencer, or I want to be famous. And I guess it's a different mindset.
Definitely, yeah. I think it's part of the Kardashian effect as well. A lot of the young generation now, I don't even know what generation they are. They want that fast, quick money, fast money on. They want their face everywhere,
and don't want to work for it, or don't want to work too hard for it.
Just showing that they can follow someone's dance or lip sync to someone else's music.
Yes,
and we can do that. We can karaoke all day. And
yes, we can.
we have that plan to go out and do some karaoke here in a few weeks, or this week, next week, whatever. We'll find out.
We'll figure it out.
Every Friday, Chicken and Beer Crew still hangs out.
That's right.
And we'll be right back after this quick break.
When the sun goes down and the evening rolls around, that's the time I find got blue ribbon on my mind.
America's premium beer since 1844. Pabst. A lot to look forward to.
Are back with Chuck Woods, U.S. Army veteran, combat engineer, an overall good dude, founding member of the Chicken and Beer crew. And we're hanging out here live on About Face Radio, Electrocast Media, and all the Facebook, all the social media. So jump in, ask your questions. Chuck is ready and willing to answer questions right now. He's amped up. First comment on here was, how come you're not in the same room with drinks? And I told him, I said, because Chuck forgot. That's why. That's the only reason why that happened. That's why he's not in Studio A1 right now. But
yes, we work hard and we play hard, but sometimes we have these things that trump that stuff. It's called like a honey-do list. And I had one this afternoon, and I actually almost, I did forget about this until you sent me the message, Rich. And I was like, all right, send me a link. But I was in the process of scratching things off a honey-do list.
Heck yeah. Life happens. We understand. Steve understands too. His better half chimed in, oh no, not you singing. So she doesn't want to sing it, but I guess we have to now.
Oh, we'll do it, man.
And now the challenge accepted. We're going to get out there and sing. We might even wear outfits.
That's right. Matching ones.
Chuck has a lot of
last time we wore matching outfits, right?
Yes, someone got married. Video. Yeah, Steve also asked, will you be with us in June at the race?
Yes.
You see that?
Most
he's
definitely.
Well, he's ready. He's ready to become NASCAR famous.
For those that don't know, I have never been a NASCAR fan. It's never interested me. And last year, Rich invited me to the NASCAR race. And I was like, yeah, why not? And I fell in love. I mean, just with the sound, the crowd, the people, everything, the beer, just the whole atmosphere. So I'm a NASCAR fan now.
And speaking of beer, that you're the first one of us that got in trouble on pit row.
Yes, for walking down
pit row. Excited walking down the pit row with that beer, with your press pass on, and all the security guards, they look at everyone and they see you come right at you. I thought they were profiling at first, and then I realized what was happening.
They gave me some leniency because I was new to NASCAR. I didn't know I couldn't bring my beer on pit row. So, I went ahead. They said you could dump it or finish it. So
you went and
did the latter, and because they weren't cheap, so
you went full style right there and down that thing, and it was impressive. And I think everyone around watching was very happy watching you drink that thing as they were sweating to death in pit row.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it.
So we will be together again at Nashville Super Speedway in June. Under the stars. Hopefully the race gets in without rain this time, so we don't have to stay at the bar as long. But otherwise, we'll do that anyway.
Yes.
So
as long as I could get infield pass.
You
I don't need a pit row, but actually I could borrow yours to go there. But as long as we get the infield pass, I'm there.
We're working that through the studio right now, so we'll have it, and hopefully we'll have hard cards so we can go into the actual garages as well.
Cool.
So it'll be an even better experience for you. So we've talked about Army life, talked about work life, school. Where do you see yourself in 5 years as far as, are you going to be an adjunct professor still, or do you want to get back into that? I know you're on a hiatus right now since the COVID world happened.
Yeah, I think probably so. But as much as I hate it, I think I'll be totally online because as you know, my plan is to bounce between here and Panama once I retire in about 5 years, because I'm looking at 5 years for good and just hanging up the boots. And, when it's warm here, I'll be here. When it's cold here, I'll be in Panama. With Rich probably, right?
You'd be like a snowbird, but extreme.
Extreme. And I mean, because I enjoy teaching. I enjoy teaching. Just sharing the stories with the students, listen to their stories. It's almost like being in the military because, you have everybody comes from different, parts of the world, different aspects of life. And their one common ground that they meet on is in the classroom. It's kind of like in the military. You have people in the military that I'll say that you probably would never have associated with if you weren't in the same unit and you had to work with them. And, those are the people that you don't hang out with outside of work, but you still had to have that professional relationship. But they came from all walks of life. And it's like in the classroom, you have some students that come from money, some who's, may be homeless. I've dealt with that with my wife, with students she's had, that were actually homeless.
Right.
So it's just being compassionate. And I think I could do that. I want to teach. I want to get back in the classroom. And my wife, she's thinking the same thing. She's like, yeah, I could just teach online.
Definitely, yeah. Especially, she can teach language online and probably make a lot more doing it online than she does in the district here.
And with that also, I didn't mention that she's certified for the visually impaired, so she can read Braille and do all that stuff, that's one of the things she saw in the public sector before she went in there, that they did have students that were visually impaired in the regular schools, but they really didn't have anybody there for them. You maybe had somebody came in once every other week or so. What's up, Jake? But yeah, just trying to make the world a better place.
I know I've seen you with soldiers, training them, and how you create the bond with them, even though you're not in the uniform no more.
Yeah,
you still get up in front of them, you train them, and you create bonds with them, and lasting bonds. I've seen guys come back into the office asking for help after, especially the one that wanted his fire stick helped with you a bunch of times. He was also
one of our college students.
Yeah, he was one of the college students and a soldier. So
yeah.
So that was a good one. And I know when we go to our Friday spot now at the Thirsty Goat right here in Clarksville, Tennessee, there's an employee there that comes up to you that also was one of your students at Nashville State, and he acts like he's still in your class, even though it's been a few years now. So
yeah, he's graduated and moved on. Yes. But yeah, I've seen him, great kid. And I remember him fresh out of high school, now to see how much he's grown. He's working, he's graduated from college, and that's the type of stuff I like. And he doesn't have one of these 6-figure jobs working somewhere. He works at the little bar we go to, and he has another job also.
Yeah.
So but he still has that, he has that diploma in his kit bag in case he needed to, pull it out later.
He's definitely staying focused on his future and focused on it. He stays local, so he likes it here. He's trying to help people here. And of course, the Thirsty Goat's a good launching pad with a pretty good staff and, of course, cold beer.
Yes.
They don't have the chicken for us, but they do have the beer.
Yeah.
So as a veteran, where do you see the largest problem for veterans right now, Chuck?
I would say one of the largest problems I see for veterans, especially veterans from our era, we deployed a lot. We saw a lot of things, right? Stress in the house, stress on the battlefield, just the stress of being a soldier, being deployed. And I would say one of the largest issues I see are soldiers not reaching out for help when they need help. Not recognizing that they need help when they need help, because a lot of times they just think that, I'm just going through a little phase and it'll be all right. But sometimes it's deeper issues. And I know you and I were talking about it. I can't remember the name of it, with the light that goes back and forth.
Oh, the EMDR.
EMDR. And I had issues, and I went and I had my doubts about looking at a light going back and forth and then closing my eyes. And it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. And all you have to do is call a number. You just call a number, and I'm sure you have it, Rich, somewhere around here. Just call the number and let them know that you're experiencing some things, or, you may have some things on your mind that are bothering you, and they'll get you in.
There it is, right there, going across the bottom.
Yep.
So don't be afraid to ask for help. That's a main thing. That's a very important thing. And understanding that you have a problem is probably the top of the list. If you don't want to admit you have a problem, you'll never get the help you need. You can be told. You can be told in your face by those you love, those in your inner circle, that something's wrong with you, and you'll just deny it until things
I'm
go.
not sick. I'm in good physical shape. I'm not sick.
Right.
I'm good. But yeah, it's those are the illnesses and stuff that you don't see.
Exactly. And we got a great question here for both of us. I'll let you answer it first. So this one is from C.S. Lewis. What was the hardest part of transitioning to civilian life for both of you?
I'll go first. For me, what I was going to do when I got out. But I knew the military would end one day, so I took advantage of it. The Army sent me down to Florida. I was stationed in Miami, and that job ended at 3:00 every day. It didn't follow me home, so I went to school because I always wanted to teach. So that's when I did my teaching certification through University of West Florida, because I was like, no matter how bad the economy will be, they'll always need teachers. But I don't want to teach little kids anymore because my license was K-6. But the hardest thing is the realization that I'm actually going to do this, because I've seen it with friends of mine that decide, okay, I want to retire or get out. Then it's like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I had a good friend. He was a first sergeant, and he stayed until he couldn't because he was in so much debt that he didn't know what he was going to do once he got out the military. So the hardest thing is just prioritizing, life after the military. One thing I would tell you is, if you don't have a guaranteed job or employment, start looking at paying down those bills. So you're not taking that, because when you get out, your check's going to be cut in half, depending on how long you stayed in, but minimum half. So, just once you set that plan, start putting it in motion. And one of the things that I was told back when I ACAP'd in 2008, they said, flood the market with your resumes. It's a technique. I didn't do it. I looked at jobs I thought I was qualified for. I applied for 3 jobs, and I got hired for all 3 jobs. And I didn't flood the market. But the thing is, taking a good, honest inventory of yourself, what skills you have, and where you can apply them outside the military.
Definitely. And for me, I've seen all of my brothers and sisters that were getting out before me, getting out and falling into these GS positions, GS, government service positions. And I thought that must be the easiest route. So if they're falling into them, I'll be able to just fall right into one too. And as I got closer, I finished my bachelor's degree, got my degree in Homeland Security Emergency Management. I applied to those jobs with the GS positions, and basically they weren't there anymore because all those other people had taken them. So those jobs weren't there. So I put all my eggs in that one basket, wasn't really prepared for the what if next. So it took me 365 days to find a job. So the hardest part was becoming humble and learning that I wasn't the top-notch guy at first, and then just building myself back up and keeping myself humble, and just kept hustling throughout the whole time until finally at 365 days, I got the job with the Mission Continues out in St. Louis. Stayed there for a couple of years and jumped on where I am now. And I've never looked back from where I started now. And I think I'm doing great things now, pursuing my doctorate. So my lesson was just becoming humble.
And one you brought up something also. One thing you have to remember is, especially if you were senior leadership in the military or in a leadership position, you may be the low man on the totem pole. You may
Right.
be, you may not be in charge anymore.
Definitely. And our brother George just gave a pretty long statement here. Great topics, gents. Vulnerability is tough to mention as a veteran. While we were told to know and understand all things because there was an SOP or written guideline on how to do it. There is no SOP rule book on transitioning back to civilian life. It's a learn, listen, and seek help as we go. Just hope others are hearing this as well. And I think that's spot on. Thanks, George.
Yes.
Hope you're doing well, George.
Yep. Is he coming to NASCAR?
I have to ask him. Well, you just did. So, George, are you coming? You can leave it in the comments. But that's definitely a thing there. You have to listen to those around you, seek the help, and actually listen to what they say when they give you the help. Don't just listen to answer, listen to hear. Once you hear what they're saying, then you formulate that question, formulate that second set of questions, and you wind up with more answers. So it's awesome that way.
Mhm.
Now you gave a crying emoji. I'm not sure what that means, but he's sad. Or maybe
You touched him with your response.
I guess I don't know. I was just being humble. No NASCAR, but it'll be up soon. Okay, that's why he's sad. Whew. Oh, we made him sad. So, Chuck, what else do you want to jump on? What other subject you want to talk? We talk about a lot of things when we're
I
out.
know we've been all over the place. We haven't, we haven't even zeroed yet, but we're on the qualifying range already.
Everywhere we
all over
go,
the place.
everywhere we go, there's not a stranger we find. We
That's
talk.
right.
We talk to
Yeah.
someone everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Just so they're
Hey,
not
I mean,
introduced to my neighbor, and
your neighbor was at the goat.
and it was an instant connection that was awesome. And hopefully he's there Friday. We can hang out with him.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and I'm sure you can appreciate this. And some of the listeners right now is that one of the things I'm really starting to enjoy about life is being an empty nester. You know how many trips I've been on in the last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And I would tell anyone, if you can, get out the house. It helps. Get out the house. You don't have to go on elaborate trips. I mean, just get in the car and drive an hour and a half in one direction, stop, eat lunch, with your spouse or significant other, and come back, because I enjoy that freedom of not having kids in the house anymore. And because before, you couldn't do those type of things when you had little kids, and, we're part-time owners of the dog. We only have them half the month. So, it's easy. The dog's not here all the time. He's only here 2 weeks out of the month.
That's what's called joint custody, Chuck.
It is joint custody, yeah. And, I would say just because we never know which day is going to be our last day. Take every day and, do it to its fullest.
Exactly. Live life to your fullest, because you never know. Like my dad told me a couple of years ago that we all have an appointment. We just don't know what day it is. So live life to the fullest and enjoy it. Enjoy every minute of it. Being an empty nester is great. You can walk around the house naked as much as you want.
Yeah.
Just don't answer the door naked. That's frowned upon, I've been told.
Yeah.
So just don't do that. But you can do whatever you want in your own house. And like you said, you got to get outside those walls. Walk outside, get the air. And just like you have your bike, you can go for a ride. Let the air hit your face. Just don't let someone back into you while you're driving.
Yeah.
And then just find places to go. Find something new all the time. With me, the Jeep, I just go out to the trails and get mudded up, and that's the best part of it.
And I mean, a lot of people were confined by COVID. All the COVID restrictions have been lifted, but some people are still hesitant. Get out, start your life again. Unclick the pause button.
Exactly. C.S. Lewis just posted again, and this is a good one. So I definitely remember this one. Will you be daring your next guest to eat a whole chicken? C.S. Lewis did that for me one time in the office, and I laughed all the time about it, but we all laughed about it. And
so that's who C.S. Lewis is.
I couldn't believe that C.S. Lewis did that, but it was a feat that not many other people could do. Thank you, C.S. Lewis.
Now I know who C.S. Lewis is.
Well, I would definitely challenge someone else to do it. I don't think they could, C.S.
C.S., yeah. Well, you need to have C.S. on here.
CS would have to wear a hood, and face would have to be scrambled out for OPSEC and stuff.
Okay.
I will provide bush latte, so that will help out.
Oh, okay.
So, we talked about transition. We talked about veteran issues, getting out of your own way to seek help, seek advice. The show provides a lot of that for everybody with all the different guests I have: authors, entrepreneurs, coaches, musicians, folks like yourself, other veterans that have been through the ups and downs of the transition or life as it's on its own. Life has its own obstacles. You don't have to be a soldier or a veteran to have obstacles. Everyone has obstacles now, and you can go through you go through it either alone and fight it until you die, or you bring that inner circle in and let them know something's going on, and there you go. Everyone hangs out.
Yep. So true. Just enjoy life, man.
Jake just said he bets you can eat a whole chicken, he'll provide it.
What you mean by that, bro?
I knew that was coming.
Well,
Jake just spit out his drink right now. I can feel it.
Well, you know, I have eaten a whole chicken before.
Not in one sitting.
No, I tell you back, Army story.
There we go.
When we, those of us that went to sapper school during the survival phase, they don't feed you probably for like 3 or 4 days. You have all the water you want, but they take you out to the woods at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and you have to set up a patrol base. And, you have to go through your priorities of work. And about 6 o'clock, they tell you, you had survival classes, go find something to eat. And it's still dark. So, you're looking for wild carrots, wild onions, anything you could find out there to eat. And when you get back, they tell you, okay, go ahead, start performing your personal hygiene. And, Child's here. You guys, once you get everybody back, you'll eat. And they give everybody a live rabbit and a live chicken. Or a live chicken. So you have your choice. What do you want, a rabbit or a chicken? And that chicken looked like a museum piece when it was done. Because there was no meat, no cartilage, and nothing on those bones.
I bet. And well, you're also starving being in that school, because I know it's not a fun school if you're weak-minded or weak-stomached. So you have to get through there hard, especially when you went through before they actually gave you MRs.
I went when it was hard. When the school was 3 years old. That's what I tell people. I went when it was hard.
You're almost a plank bearer at the time. So
that's right.
You're still a test soldier at the time, basically.
I think we were. Yeah. Because the school was longer. It was like 37 days.
And now the graduation rate now is a lot higher than it was then.
Yeah.
It could be from people knowing the test, or just that it's gotten a little easier.
I tell you, I went from Fort Carson, and we sent 25 guys from Fort Carson from my unit, and we all trained together. We lost one guy because it was an injury. And the other half our class was from Fort Polk. They had like 3 guys graduate out of their 25.
See, that's attrition right there.
Yeah, 2 of them were officers. But yeah, we trained up for it though. We trained up for it for like 3 months, but that's back when we were sending the units. So we sent all the officers and however many NCOs that were in leadership positions to make the 25 for our group from Fort Carson.
Wow. And we both know a couple of the original instructors there. So
yeah.
Know how hard they were back then and how they eased up a little bit as they got older in life and look back at the things they did.
One of them was my sergeant major in Germany. And I remember him as a young sergeant first class in sapper school. And as a sergeant major, he couldn't run fast anymore. But he will run you for 2 hours at a knee grinding pace.
Just like Gunny Highway.
Yeah. Your knees are hurting when he's done.
That's what it's all about. If the soldiers aren't in pain and if they're beating you, you're not doing your job. So
right.
You got to keep going until they can't beat you anymore. When I got back from Kandahar in 2011, before let the soldiers go and leave, I took them on a 10-mile run outside Angels Gate from the company area, just so they'd be tired when they went on leave and they wouldn't do anything stupid the first night. It would take a weekend to leave before they would do anything stupid. And they always look back on it and said that was the most insane thing they did. I said, I tried my best to make you guys happy. So that's what I did.
Well, speaking of the insane things that we do in the Army, I don't know if I ever told you a story about when I got to Fort Hood. When I got to Fort Hood, my daughter was just born, so my wife didn't fly. So I was at Fort Hood for almost 4 months by myself.
Oh, boy.
I was in a 3-bedroom house with a cot, a 13-inch TV, and a desktop computer. So whenever my soldiers would screw up, I would make them work at night. I said, you couldn't do it on, the Army's time, so you do it at night. So they used to call me the dark side because I would work soldiers. I said, no, you can go home, eat dinner, but be back here at 1800. But just, the stuff we used to do that we can't do anymore.
And for those wondering what a desktop computer is, it's the computer that has the back like a box on it.
Looks like an old console television.
Old console television. Just so Chuck isn't aging himself too much right there. I want to let you know.
Well, you're right behind me now. How old are you now, Rich? 52?
I'm 41, yeah.
Okay.
So this has been great, Chuck. Great having you on the Misfit Nation. Next time you'll be in Studio 1A. And
definitely.
We will have some Misfit Nation beverages going on from the bar downstairs.
And hey, who knows? I might bring that bottle of tequila.
There it is. Maybe we'll get C.S. Lewis to come on the show and grace us with that presence.
Yeah. All right, then.
Any parting words, Chuck, for the Misfit Nation?
I appreciate it. And, you got my creative juices flowing. I'm going to go see if we can find some sponsors.
Heck yeah, there it is. And the Misfit Nation thanks you. I'll give you one more bell for you, Chuck, since I know you love the bell.
That's right. Hey, and tell Liv.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. It's themisfitnation.com to catch up on all of our episodes and also to get some of that great Misfit Nation gear. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are